Why is it as moms we are constantly feeling like we're failing our kids? I'm really reflecting on this for a number of reasons today. So I'm going to share a couple of stories, but first I want to say that this is something that is experienced, I believe, by all moms in all phases of our parenting journey. From the moment of conception or knowing that a child is coming into our lives, we begin to prepare to provide this child with the best life possible. And yet, at almost every twist and turn along this journey, we find that there's messages, reasons, confirmation that we're failing, that we're not providing our kids with everything they need. And I believe that this feeling is rooted in an awful concept that comes from a really unhealthy society with unhealthy expectations that's leaving us all feeling isolated and like we have to provide everything alone. One person, one mother has to provide everything this child needs. And it's a false message. It's a total lie. And yet we've completely ingrained it into every cell. And this feeling continues to haunt me every day. So here's a couple of stories. For me today, this feeling came up in such a profound and visceral way. My son, who lives in his own apartment and does his own thing, stopped by to do some laundry. And he wanted to just wash a couple of things because he's preparing for a work trip. And this is the first opportunity he has where his work is actually paying for him to travel, putting him up in a hotel. It's really exciting. And he just wanted a couple of his things clean to pack to bring with him, but he was leaving at a really specific time. And he puts a few things in our washer and dryer, and the dryer was taking longer than he expected. And so, little side note, we recently renovated our home, and we have a small space. It's about a little over 1,100 square feet, and we really wanted a washer and dryer installed in the house in the small kitchen. So we specifically chose a washer and dryer that is a ventless unit, so that it's a really small kind of very efficient unit, but the dryer takes a lot longer than a traditional dryer. So obviously that is a choice that we made, and a choice that I stick by. But today, that choice was crushing me as my son was sitting with the disappointment that his laundry wasn't drying. And it feels even ridiculous as I'm saying it out loud because he had so many other choices of where to dry his clothes. But it crushed me, this feeling that I kept apologizing to him. I kept apologizing, saying, I'm so sorry that our dryer is taking so long. I'm sorry that we chose this dryer. I felt like it was my fault. I felt like I wasn't providing for my child in the way that he needed. And I wanted him to feel prepared and have the clothes that he wanted and have them dry and be on time. And yet there was nothing I could do. It was totally out of my hands and actually not my responsibility. But this is it's like I said, an ingrained feeling that like somehow if I'm not single-handedly providing like all the best things for my kid, that I'm somehow failing him. Now, this feeling has come out throughout his life, right? This has been over 23 years of this feeling coming up in all kinds of different ways. And one of the things that I'm also reflecting on today is a mother that I'm supporting with her newborn baby. This baby is 7 days old. And this mother, is having a lot of those postpartum experiences that we've all had. The birth wasn't what she expected. The experience after birth wasn't what she expected. And all her best laid plans are sort of falling apart right now. And she's not producing milk at the rate that she would like. And the doctor suggested that she supplement with formula. And this was a crushing feeling for her. To have her pediatrician suggest this, that she wasn't able to single-handedly produce the milk that her child I could just feel how crushing that was for her. We sat with all the choices she had to make, and I continued to just encourage her to, experiment with and hone in on and feel her way into her own intuition to find the choice that was right for her and her child. Constantly, I'm reminding myself and the mothers that I work with that when we can center what feels to us like it provides us with safety and connection for ourselves, safety and connection for our child, then all of these voices of like experts, the voices of society, the voices of, that inner critic that tells us we're not doing enough, the voices of our family and friends, like all that advice can just fade into the background, and we can really center that safety and connection. What that looked like for this mother was that she was able to find a milk bank where other mothers had donated breast milk, and last night we began supplementing just a little bit of additional breast milk after each time he nursed, giving this baby just what he needed, settling him into good night's sleep, and giving the mother the reassurance that she could relax because she doesn't have to do it all herself. And receiving that help and support feels impossible sometimes because, again, we've been ingrained, we've been really programmed almost, or conditioned to believe that we have to all do it all ourselves. And so it was such a blessing to be able to support this mom. And for me, the way that looked like for my son is that when I was able to center what made me feel connected to him, what I knew he needed to feel safe and connected, was for me to just hold space for him to feel a little disappointed that he's going to leave with less than perfectly dry clothes, but he decided they were dry enough. And so as I allowed myself to have that feeling fade into the background, instead of beating myself up in my mind and kind of pacing around the house feeling frustrated, I was able to settle into a calm place where I could connect with him and just hear about how excited he was about his trip, and, give him a big hug and just be there with him, and just know that partially dried clothes were enough for him and that was okay. That, his frustration didn't mean, and, his frustration and disappointment didn't mean any less of me. It didn't mean he loved me any less. It didn't mean I was providing any less for him. And I'm going to continue to let this sink in and continue to work on articulating this. But I wanted to record this so I could reach out to any of you moms out there who feel like you're failing your kids. This may be coming from this deep pressure to feel like you have to do it all yourself. And to remember that it's not all on your shoulders, that reaching out for some support, helping your child find a mentor who can support them, helping you find the support from other mothers that you may need, receiving the care that you need, and, trusting your intuition, allowing yourself to settle into making those choices to help you feel safe and connected with your child may also mean letting other people into your life to support you and your child, or letting your child make their own decisions as they grow older, even if those decisions leave them less than perfectly satisfied or a little bit disappointed. I think that's all I have to share about that right now. Just know you're not alone. Know that you are enough for your child. Know that there is no one else out there in the world who knows what's best for your child the way you do. And knowing what's best for your child sometimes means knowing that it's not you. And that's okay too. It really, truly does. It really, truly does take an entire community to raise a child. because all those experiences, all the people who support them, all the milk that they get, all the love and hugs that they get, and even all the mistakes that they make are what build the person that they become. And that's their journey. But you have been given the gift of knowing how to support them along that journey. So trust yourself. Give yourself that little bit of love and appreciation that you're doing a great job. And I will see you again in the next video. To all the moms out there, you're doing great.